Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Unpacking Familiarity. Today we have my guest Celine. Do you want to introduce yourself?
So my name is Celine. I'm 20 years old and I'm half Swedish, half Turkish. And I was born in Germany. Yeah.
She's been all around.
Yeah.
And I thought we could start off by just sharing like how we met, how we became friends, because I think it's an interesting story. Because me and Celine initially met 2 years ago,
Yeah.
3 years ago.
No,
Almost?
first year.
Yeah. First year of uni, we just met at a friend's house. Like we had a mutual friend, and then we didn't really talk after that night.
We didn't really talk at all.
At all. And then when I moved to Madrid, I ended up in the same class as Celine.
Yeah, and because I knew of her, because I'd seen her already once, with that mutual friend. But we hadn't really talked. But I thought Nazi seemed so open and sweet, and it's really rare to find I feel like people that are that just open and sweet to meet new people. And as she was in my class and I was wanting to get out of my comfort zone and meet new people, I just ended up texting her.
Yeah, she messaged me and then it was hey, would you want to get dinner sometime? And I was I remember getting the message, I was okay, because I made it a point when I moved to Madrid, I was I want to meet new people and I want to expand my friend group and whatever. But you can say that and then not kind of stick to it. So when Celine reached out, I remember looking at my friends, I was okay guys, what do I say? Blah, blah, blah. And I replied and I was yeah, of course, I'd be super down. And I remember us talking about this later on where we were both a little, I think, a little nervous when we were going to meet each other. I remember getting ready and being oh my god, I feel it's this is so weird. Do I look good? Whatever. And I felt I had to impress a new friend. Vibes. Exactly. And then we hit it off, I think, from the first
night. It was literally great. And also, for context, we have, I don't know who's gonna watch this, but if someone doesn't know, it's we have 2 campuses in Segovia and Madrid. She came from Segovia. So also we had I feel for us, for the people from Madrid, we felt and Segovians as well, everyone kind of stuck with their groups.
Yeah, and I think everyone kind of separated. It wasn't a lot of friendships, I think, that formed between Segovians and Madrid people. So I think we made it a point to meet and hang out and
And I feel that's also why now a year later, we have our groups merge.
Exactly, our
group
with her Madrid group. So we bring people together.
Yeah.
But anyways, so obviously this podcast about studying abroad, culture, advice, all of this stuff. So I thought I prepared a few questions, but I'm sure the conversation is gonna flow. But what obviously originally brought you here, we know that's because of uni. But do you have any moment that was more of a culture shock? Because you, for example, lived in Europe your whole life, so it's I guess not a lot of things, but for me, for example, moving, I was this is
a lot
so different.
Already the weather for you.
I mean, the weather, I lived in a all year summer climate and I came here and experienced the cold. But
well, for me also, first of all, I was faced with a decision to decide between Madrid and Segovia.
Yeah.
But for me, it's absolutely not understandable why anyone would choose Segovia. But it's because usually people that chose Segovia come from really large cities.
Yeah.
And I come from a very small town, or a city,
a Segovia in Germany.
Exactly, exactly. We do have a city nearby, but it was just a very small community. Not a lot of things to do, in my opinion. So for me, it was so important to come to Madrid and it was a crazy experience. To me, I don't know if it's a culture shock, but I guess just the environment changing.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but in the most positive way ever. Already the weather, for example, for a lot of people from Dubai,
yeah,
they came here and they struggled with the weather. But for me, coming from Germany,
you're oh, it's warm.
Literally, I was this is the best. I'm living the life. The sun is up, most of the hours.
Yeah, true.
And culturally speaking, so my family is very warm, but in Germany, people, I'm just gonna stereotype here, but I did live my whole life there, so I feel
it's fair to say.
It's fair to say. Of course, there's always exceptions. Some friends would love German families, and I love them. They're super warm, but on average, they can be a bit colder. So I feel I'm very I feel non-inviting, especially on the street. People are not very helpful. Don't really find people smiling and being
friendly.
Hi, or when you ask for help, people are side eye you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also me being half Turkish, I struggled a bit in Germany, finding I felt people were kind of rude towards me just because of that. So I also would always hide that side. And I come into Spain, the first time I visited here was when I moved here. I haven't visited before.
No, same here.
And I feel like it was a lot for a lot of people like that. Actually.
Yeah, it was like I didn't come, and keep in mind I chose Segovia, which is like a tiny town. I was planning on living there for 2 years, and I just showed up, and I was like, okay, like I guess this is it.
Yeah.
And I remember being on the bus, and I was like, looking around, being like, wait, like this is
and
ugly.
Isn't there like this joke that the first thing you see is cows?
No, you don't unless you take the train. But I wanted to see cows.
Yeah.
That was like my biggest thing because I come from a city. I mean, you're like a tiny town girl. You were like, I don't want to see another cow.
Literally. I don't want to see horses.
No, but I just saw a bunch of like buildings that were a little more like, you know, because I was entering a bus station. And I remember looking around and I was like, there's no way this is my life for 2 years. And my life completely changed from that first day in like Segovia. Like, will always be like a home to me. Like, it was the best experience ever. But I, like, first impressions was very like, you know, so I can imagine like for you as well, I think coming to Spain, like seeing like the different like.
Yeah, like culturally speaking, and the change for me also was that when I came here with my parents, we were like walking the streets, and it was like 9 p.m. People were like outside, they were laughing. It was like all ages as well, like not just like our age, it was like also older people.
Yeah.
Like everyone's out just like happy and smiling. It was just such a great feeling, and like it gave us like endorphins, I guess, because like in Germany it's like I don't really feel like that exists. Like,
Is it end early, like life?
Yeah, like everyone's like I feel like you wake up and you look forward to going to sleep.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like this can all like be an individual experience.
No, but it's your experience.
Yeah, it's my experience. And that's why like when we came here we're like culturally like that was a shock, but like in a really positive way. Like I immediately found myself to be more home here within like a month than like years in Germany.
Yeah. No, but then see, like, this is like an example of like a positive experience, exactly. Obviously. But I know like we've talked about like making friends and like how it's difficult and like, you know what I mean? Like that whole aspect of things.
Yeah.
Do you have any like, not necessarily just advice, but like how did you go about making friends?
I think that we have like a disease in today's society that's like finding everything cringe, for example, and like judging a lot. That being said, we love to judge. We there's no problem with that per se, you know. But like when meeting people, like you're gonna meet people when you move that are like of all different backgrounds and like cultures and different personalities.
Yeah.
And like if you really wanna like make friends and all this stuff, you're gonna have to grow, and that includes like being friends with new people, being open to things. And like for me, for example, in Germany, I feel like also everything was always very cringe, like if someone did something, you know, but at the end of the day I kind of just view it as like, oh wow, I just think it's like so cool that this person's doing what they're doing.
Yeah, they can be themselves.
They can be
like
themselves, and they're not like
scared.
Exactly. And like for example, now I think it's like super cool. Like that's the thing I would like give advice to. And then as well, yeah, just be open, like don't get discouraged. And also I would say don't become besties within the first week with people. Don't close yourself off. Like for example, a lot of people saw me in the first week of uni with like groups of people.
Friend groups.
And they were like, oh, she's closed off. But like for example, it was like super important to me that I wasn't closing myself off. And if you feel that way, like no, it's not. Don't worry. Like you have so much time to find people and your friends. And it's not the same environment as in high school where you have like a selective friend group. Where, like you have a selective pool of people. And you gotta be with them every day. Like once you like move to university, you can literally choose who you spend your time with and who you give your own time to. And like I think that's great.
You know, and I think like for me, my personal experience, like I kind of like got like I was in somewhat of a friend group in like my first semester, and still like love those girls, still friends with them, everything like that. But I don't think that we're nearly as close as we were first year. And I think some of my closest friends I met within my second year. Like even Celine I met this year. You know what I mean? And it's like. Who would have thought back like 2 years ago that we were gonna be friends?
With you just like a year.
Yeah, like I feel like I've known you for way longer. But like it's this kind of thing where you can keep making friends. Like it's like it doesn't just mean the people that you hang out with in your first like 2 weeks, like that's it, you have to stick with them. Because you're gonna figure out things. I think everyone's gonna grow differently, figure out what they like and don't like. And I think uni is such a growth experience. And keep in mind, like I'm saying this like 3 years in, and I can't imagine like leaving uni and like the amount of growth we're gonna do then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like for now, it's like my friends change and you get closer to different people, and like you need to be open to
that's
that,
probably also like what you said is actually also I feel like advice, because you should also know that it's okay, like some people are there for phases in your life, and then like as you move through you're gonna lose friends, you're gonna gain friends, and it's just part of the process.
It's the same thing I think as like not necessarily losing friends, but not necessarily being as close as you are to your high school friends. Like everyone went off, did have their own paths of life and things like
Yeah.
that. For me personally, like I love my high school friend group. Like every single time we go back, it's like nothing ever changed.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you speak every single day and that you have to like
of course.
text all the time
of
and whatever.
course.
And I think some of the best friendships are those that like you're secure even
Yeah.
without having to hang out
100%.
all the time and speak all the time.
100%.
And,
Me and my friends all say that actually all the time. That
yeah.
if you actually looking to create like long-term relationships and like friendships, long-term, I'm talking 40, 50 years, you're gonna marry, you're gonna have kids, like there's not gonna be such a thing of texting every single day. Like you're gonna get busy,
Yeah,
your career is
it's
gonna come the way. And if your friendship doesn't function in the way that you can talk for 2 months and then show up and be just like it was before,
Yeah. I think
not
it's something that like I had to learn going to uni, like that everyone at the end of the day has their own independent life.
Yeah.
And our life is not to be friends with each other.
Yeah.
You're friends
uh-huh.
as part of your life, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's like obviously have friends that support you and like help you with all of this
Yeah.
stuff, but it's like it doesn't mean that it's like just because you don't speak that it's not there.
Yeah,
and I think
exactly.
something else is like reaching out. Like had Celine not texted me, we probably would have
Yeah.
spoken in class like once or twice.
Yeah.
But I think making the effort to like go out by ourselves was such a like
Yeah,
you
and
know.
it was cute. And like seriously, like I always say, like I don't know, like really just do it. Like
Yeah.
it sounds like the like thingy.
So
I mean, like what are you gonna lose? You know, you literally have nothing to lose. And like if that person, if it's a girl, or guy, if that girl, for example, if you're scared she's gonna be like, oh, she's so weird. Okay, let her think that. Like
yeah, like you then you don't want to be friends with
with
her. Yeah.
So literally that. And like for example, we had like a great time. We got to know each other. Immediately clicked. And let's say we went and it didn't click. Whatever. Like it's literally like a first date. Like it just happens. It'll be a funny like story to tell. And that's
Exactly.
it.
No, and honestly, like based on that, like I remember when I was in Segovia and this girl reached out to me and she was like, hey, like let's get coffee. We hung out once. I don't think I've seen her since. Our personalities didn't click. I don't think she took it deeply. I don't think I took it deeply. When we see each other, we smile, we say
Yeah.
hi, and that's it. It wasn't a friendship that was like
Yeah.
meant to be, and
100%.
that's okay, you know.
100%.
But I think it's like making the effort to make friends is, even if you don't stick with those friends, and
Yeah.
even if whatever, you learn so much about yourself
Yeah.
through that process, and you grow
100% I agree.
yourself. And I think that's
Yeah.
beautiful in its own way.
Yeah, and also like for people that are like more shy, like I would say, like first of all, you're not alone. Like
Yeah.
so is everyone. I wouldn't say I'm the most shy
Extroverted?
person, but I also wouldn't say I'm the
Yeah.
most extroverted. I feel like I'm a good middle in between, and like especially when it's about reaching out, I'm like very shy about that. But you know, over message, also it's not that scary. Like I feel like I texted you and I was like, you know what? If you want long lasting friendships, if you want to like build these relationships,
Mhm.
you gotta put yourself out there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really the same as with dating. Like if you wanna, you need to put us. You can't just expect people to waltz into your door. Which you know what? I do feel like you're that person that could have waltzed into my door because like Nazi's super friendly, super outgoing.
Not enough storage, but we're back. I was saying when Celine was saying that like I was the type of person that could like waltz into your life, whatever. I think that that's very true. I'm very extroverted. I'm very like outgoing, and I meet a lot of people. But I think it's very different deciding who to put the effort in and to
100%.
find genuine friends, because I think that's another whole other issue with moving abroad, meeting new people.
Yeah.
Is like it's very hard to find who's real, who's genuine,
Yeah.
who actually fits your vibe, because just because you
100%.
meet someone you like them, that doesn't mean that they're like for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like there's people that you can learn from and grow with, and there's people that might hinder you, or like you're gonna have like a different
Or
experience.
Also, like if someone if you and that other person don't click, that doesn't make you be like weird or that person being weird. You guys just don't click. Like that doesn't mean that the other person is like a horrible
Exactly.
person or you're a horrible person, or if
You
you
just
feel
don't
like
fit.
scared. Yeah, you literally just don't fit, and you have your people somewhere, and that person will have their people somewhere.
No, exactly. And I think I've realized that a lot is like there are people, for example, like from my high school who've gone off to college, and it's like I see them now and they're like thriving, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like this is so nice. You found the people that are exactly like you in an environment that's like with people that are similar to you. You know what I mean? Because it's also very different, I think, like culturally, for example, automatically you gravitate towards people that are from similar cultures or similar
Yeah.
backgrounds. And I realized that like my big thing when I moved abroad was I was like, I want to meet people from everywhere. I want to have the chance to experience all of these different cultures and meet people from there, because you never know, like you really can be surprised.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
there are a lot of people from different places who maybe not culturally you're the exact same culture, but you align on so many other aspects of your life, and it's so like refreshing to see that you really can be friends with like anybody. Like it's
100%.
and not to like go into a friendship with that like stereotype of like, oh, like for example, like let's just go back to the German thing, like me meeting somebody and being like, oh, like they're German, like they're gonna be super like strict and smart, and like they're just gonna ignore me and be mean and just focus on work, and like they don't want to talk to me and whatever. Like, you were raised in Germany, yeah, you're not the typical like German stereotype, but like you lived there your whole life. I'm sure there's aspects of the culture that are like embedded
honestly,
in
when people ask me that, I just don't agree. Because
you just don't feel German.
I just don't feel German. But it's also because my household is like not at all. And because actually, this is something I was going to say about you saying the cultures. I went to international school my whole life. So we had like everything was in English, obviously. But also all my friends were from everywhere. So I'm already really used to like not being in like a cultural circle. Like, okay, most of them like were like French, like German, Scandi.
Yeah, like same kind of
same thing, but like all European, but like still from different cultures, of course. So I have that. Yeah, like German culture, like how much do you, because I come from a small, like I literally went to school.
How much differentiation?
Like I went to school, I went back home. Like the only time I talked with like proper German culture is like when you go to restaurants, you know?
Yeah, true.
Because my friends weren't German. Okay, actually two, like a few of my guy friends were German, but it's like, and my girlfriends, my best friends weren't like German. So
It doesn't.
It didn't really affect me. But also coming here, like now, for example, my friends like in our class, they're Argentina, Ecuador. Then I have Scandis as well that I'm friends with. And one thing actually that I really, really learned to appreciate is because I grew up in a very like European, like very German, all my friends are European.
Yeah.
I always tell her
that
I never had like that side with the Turkish, like with the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
And like Arabs are quite similar in a lot of
like
ways.
Middle Eastern
culture. So like to me, like meeting her and her friends, because she says like expand the culture, so I do feel like there's a huge Arab group. Like Arabs are like all
we
the
stick
time, like,
together, we're tight knit.
But it's like it was like such a nice thing for me to like, I don't know, relate to these things that no one has ever related like
with you on. Exactly.
Like even if like cultural things, like I don't know, things like boyfriends or literally from A to Z, there's anything. And there's like really unique, I always thought unique or weird things. Like, it's like I didn't find it weird, but other people found it weird.
Like you were like a stereotype to some other people, and then you meet people from the same type of culture, and you're like, oh wait, like this is normal. Like I'm not weird. Exactly. Like you guys all have the same kind of like values, way of life and values, morals. Exactly. Like exactly. No, I think that's such a big thing, but I think it's like it's very different because I think we were both raised with very international backgrounds. We were both like always introduced to people from so many different places. But like for somebody who comes from a culture that's like for example, like let's say a German person who was living in your tiny town never left, like and then they came and had to kind of face the culture shock. I think it's like it's a very different experience. Like for example, for me, like moving to Asia, I talked about this a little bit, but like moving to Asia is such a like crazy thing because I'm the one like anomaly. Like I'm by myself being placed in this culture. It's not super international, like where I'm going also and all of this.
When you came here, Nasi was never alone. Like she, like
half my friends came with me. Here. Yeah, my cousins with me. Half my friends came with me. I was never by myself. So I think that for me is gonna be a very eye-opening experience. So it's like as much as I'm like, oh, like giving all of this advice, and I'm like hearing it. Like I'm like, okay, I need to put this all into like perspective, and I need to like feel like this and blah blah. And I think I mentioned this in my other podcast, like my story podcast. Like, it's okay to feel alone because it doesn't mean that you're like lonely.
Yeah, that is such a big differentiation. Like when you come and you feel lonely, really look within yourself. Do you feel alone or do you feel lonely? Because I can promise you, it's very likely you just feel alone. You're not.
And I think being alone is actually like really good.
I mean, for me, I'm like, I love being alone.
No, me too. Like I'm like, I think we're both very extroverted and outgoing and talkative. And like we actually don't shut up when we're like in social situations. But I think we're both very like homebodies, like our alone time, and like I like to just sit down by myself and like every once in a while, like I go mute. Like I'm like I don't want a word to come out of my mouth.
Nasi mute, I've never seen.
Celine mute, I've never seen either.
I can be quiet. I actually can't. Like if I'm comfortable with people.
Okay, so you're not comfortable with me.
That's fine. I think when I'm comfortable with people, then I'm like super talkative and stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like people like sometimes confused. Like for example, I'm great at like when there's new people and stuff. Like I'm super good at conversation. Like small talk, all that stuff. but I'm also like a great listener, so I guess like it's not that much. So.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying like the kind of thing where it's like I like being completely by myself in complete silence, watching my show or reading my book or just literally just not socializing every once in a while. Like I like the like lack sometimes. Like my social battery runs out. I don't know if you feel the same
I have
way.
very low social battery.
I don't even think it's low social battery. I think it's just when we're social, we're so social, so it just runs out faster.
No.
You don't think so?
No, but I just also don't think I'm that social. Like I don't think I'm
I
as
don't- I
talkative
think-
as you or my boyfriend, for example, is
Yeah.
also super social.
Yeah.
And I like can't like then in like that comparison I don't feel like that, you know.
No, yeah, but also like when I'm with you, I feel like I have like a balance.
Yeah, but that's because I love you and I enjoy talking to you. Like I'm not like that with everyone. Like if
No, that's true.
because me and Anzi really, really click.
Yeah.
And like when she talks, like I literally am like I appreciate her talking, and it's like always like it's like a back and forth, but like often, like especially in class, like I'm just like often on my computer, like unless I'm talking to you guys, but then I'm just like
One last question, so that this doesn't go on for a super long time. I wanted to ask like your biggest challenge about moving to abroad, and then the moment where you felt like, oh, like I belong here.
I think the biggest challenge, maybe it's two, but like one was like exactly what you were saying earlier, like the alone versus lonely.
Yeah.
And like I was really struggling with like feeling the pressure that I had to make friends, but I didn't really want to. This is what I mean. I wasn't that social. People really think I'm that social, but I really like I'm just great at making conversations.
So how great am I that you wanted to be my
amazing?
friend?
Pretty amazing. No, it's like everyone kind of pushes you, and like everyone's like, oh, making friends.
Yeah.
And
true.
like I thought people agreed that I met first year for sure. Like I mean, like first few days, you know, everyone's great,
of course.
But felt so pressure to really click, and a lot more people were like, thing is when people like someone said to me, or like something to say to me that like I seem very open, but I seem very you said that to me.
Yeah,
I seem very reserved.
Yeah, like Celine's very open, as in she'll tell you a lot about herself, but like it's not really a lot about like who you are. It's more just like things
small
to
talk.
say. Yeah, exactly.
If, for example,
no, but I'm the same.
Like yeah, exactly. True. Like for example, I don't know. Like I'm not just about myself. I just
we know how to talk. Yeah, I think that's what
like
it is.
I like to make people feel comfortable. I ask a lot of questions. I ask like so that I'm great with. But for example, I was never like this immediately off the get go.
Yeah.
And I remember I felt like I have to be.
Yeah.
And I kind of struggled with that.
Wait.
Bless you.
Anyways, continue.
So I feel like I struggled with that.
I think a very big thing at the very beginning of uni was very much quantity over quality of friends. Like everyone wanted to meet everyone. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because if anything, the more people you meet, the more likely you are to meet your people. But I think it was very like a lot of small talk, a lot of like just conversations, but not a lot of connection.
Yeah, like for example, that is something that really makes me very anxious. Like that's something I didn't like at all when I came here, because I don't like big gatherings. I don't like a lot of people. That's what I'm saying. Like I genuinely don't think I have a high social battery, or I'm very social. But with people I love, I'm like the most bubbly person ever.
Yeah, but I think it takes a second.
Exactly, it takes a second. And like for example, in the beginning, that was like really stressing me, and I felt like it was very overwhelming. I felt like a lot of pressure. Like my advice would be like, if your way is like different than the rest, like if you want to take it slow, like that's so fair. And like,
because you're gonna find others, I think, that are also taking it slow.
Exactly. And like, I wish that I was like, I would have been like, could tell myself back then, like, you're fine taking it slow. Like, you don't need to like rush.
You're gonna find your people. Like everything's gonna be fine.
And I feel like maybe it was also for me like that, because like where I'm from, it was like I had like one really close friend. Our year group, like my entire year group was like 60 people. What was it? 55 people. Like it was really
that's
small.
The size of our class.
Exactly. Like for me, like being with this many people was like very overwhelming. And I also don't really like crazy going out and stuff. Like I like literally, I'm like a homebody.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I struggle with. That's challenge number one. I was gonna say also it's gonna be like you're gonna like start finding yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like I had like this like awakening moment,
like a revelation,
or like a revelation.
Yeah.
That was like, okay, this is very maybe niche, and like people are gonna just think I'm really weird for that. But I was like, kind of like, wow, like there's so many choices I make every single day that can like change like
the trajectory of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get
and
it.
Like I have so much control over my life, and not like what am I doing with it, but kind of. So I was like, and I like really changed my life. Like I like started like working out a lot. I started doing
You make decisions for yourself, I think. As
exactly.
Well. Yeah.
So I started with making decisions for myself, or
Yeah.
like even texting Nazli. That was like in that time where I was like realizing like this is my life.
Like, I can do what I want.
I can do what I
Yeah,
want.
that's
Exactly.
true.
No one is stopping me. No one's like there's and if people judge, if people let them, like literally, and I know everyone says this, and neither am I like full.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, I can
by
do
it.
it. Yeah, exactly.
100% not.
No, but it's the kind of thing where you can. Like, it's like realizing that it's like, I can make that decision. Like,
exactly.
I get to decide what I want to do. I get to decide the plans I go to. I get to decide who I surround myself with, where I go, who you give your time to, the effort you put in, like, all the stuff. And like, for me, I was like, yeah, I want to make a lot of friends in Madrid. And then I moved here and I was like, okay, well, I need to actually implement that. Like, I can't just say that. It's like, I need to put in the effort because if it's something that I want, then I need to do it. And I can. Yeah. Like, you can do it. You can do literally whatever you want.
Yeah, also, like, one thing, and it's, like, maybe harsh advice, but, like, if you're a complainer and you complain, it's in your hand. Okay, not for everything, but it is in your hands. Like, if you're complaining about, like, not finding friends and you have never in your life reached out, just, you just gotta do it. It's like a hard truth.
No, yeah. I think it is the kind of thing where it's like, if it's something that's in your control and like you can change it, but then all you're doing is complaining about it, then it's like, it's the same thing. Like for me, it's like, for example, like, let's say like, this is something I appreciate for you. If you came up to me and you were like, Nazi, there's something in your teeth, I'd be like, thank you, because it's something I can change. Yeah. If you came to me and went, oh, your nose is too big and I don't want surgery, then I would be like, literally, what is wrong with you? Yeah. But like, there are certain things that you can control. There are certain things that you can change. Yeah. So like, those are the things that like you can put in the effort to do if you really want it. Exactly. So if you want it, just make the decision to change it. Exactly.
And I feel like also like just be like kind to yourself and be kind to others and like really understand that like maybe not everything is personal. Like everyone's in their like own personal journey, and yeah,
I think to be kind to yourself is like a very big thing because it's like there's gonna be a lot of moments that are overwhelming that you're like you're feeling weird about yourself or you feel different and you're like, oh no, I'm changing, or oh no, my friend's this, oh no, that. And it's like you just need to be nice to yourself. You need to realize it's like we're in our 20s, we're living growing. Life for the first time. Exactly, we're all living life for the first time. So like if a 50-year-old is mean to you, like maybe he's just having a bad day. Exactly. And that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like not to exactly.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, don't get me wrong. Like I've had plenty of bad days where I've definitely taken it out on the people around me, and it's like, do I grow up and like I regret that? I'm like, yeah, probably. Like you didn't even have to do that. Yeah. But it's like you just need to be nice to yourself, and as long as you're willing to make the changes that you want to implement, then that's all you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can be quiet. Like I can be quite like maybe calm. Like I always say I'm like quite calm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which. My friends
I've changed.
They don't love
like,
it.
Celine, it's okay. You can get a little angry sometimes.
Because I'm just, I think like, but that's something I like. I like to like advise, I guess, especially when you're someone that like gets overwhelmed in a negative way often. Yeah. Like for example, if you're someone that points their finger like to yourself, like the first thing, which is something I do. Like I'm the first. Like I always look at myself first. Yeah. So for example. For me, maybe to be this neutral, and I'm like very like, oh, maybe this or like maybe that, making excuses. I feel like maybe like you gotta be careful with that. But like, if you're someone like Nazli, like
I'm just very confident in my decisions.
Yeah,
but I think that that's something that's like important. Is like if you want to do something for yourself, like you don't have to be scared about how other people are gonna react to that. And I think as tough as it is, and as like mean as it may sound, like. It's okay to be a little selfish sometimes.
No, that's not mean. That's
because I think it's true. That's just like loving yourself, being kind to yourself more than like anything. Actually, not to an extent, but
yeah. Actually, I was gonna say as well with this podcast. I was telling her, I was like, this is like so out of like I guess anyone's comfort zone in a way, you know. And like I was like, it's like so cool. Like, how are you doing it? And also when she actually asked me to be on the podcast, I like didn't want to. I didn't tell her. I didn't tell you.
Didn't tell me.
I didn't want to like in my like think it's uncomfortable, but I was like, why? You know?
No, yeah.
Why? Like
it's who I am. Like we can talk about
whatever.
It.
Like exactly, and like so I'll support you, and then it's also like fun.
Well, then
and there's
thank you
nothing
for
wrong.
coming. Like that's like I didn't even know she didn't want to be on it, and like she's still
Yeah.
here. So find friends like Celine.
Yeah, because you were saying like, I guess for me subconsciously, I was thinking about what other people would think, you know.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Nothing matters.
That's
Don't
why
get me
we're
wrong. Like I have my insecurities. I obviously like any normal human. If you don't care what people think, then you're not human. But at the end of the day, like if the people who are around you support you and love who you are, and you take care of yourself and you love yourself, I think that's like the biggest thing, especially when you're moving somewhere all by yourself. Like all you need is your own like circle and your own self like appreciation.
100%.
But
yeah, enjoy life. Be less serious.
Be less serious.
Yeah, be less serious.
But yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Celine, for joining me
Thank you
today.
for having me.
And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.